Let us understand how do we rearrange any equation of line in slope-intercept form, find slope or gradient and the y-intercept, and sketch it using 8 examples. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In this video, we'll explore equations of lines. We'll actually rewrite the equation of lines in slope-intercept form and then find what is line's slope and its intercept. We have 8 questions given to you. All are the equations of lines in different forms. We'll convert them to slope-intercept form and then find the gradient or the slope and the y-intercept. The question here is, rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b. Let me rewrite y equals to mx plus b. Now in this, m gives you the slope, right? So m is the slope. Slope really means change in y over change in x. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is the slope. And b is the y-intercept. Y-intercept is a point where the line crosses the y-axis, correct? So just to give you a visual look on this, we could actually sketch a line here, for example. So in this particular line, this is y-intercept, where the line crosses the y-axis. You get the idea. So that is the y-intercept. And the slope is gradient. So it has a negative slope. This line has a negative slope. Given 2 points, we can always find it. Perfect. So slope is the gradient. Perfect. Now, let's look into the question. It says, rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b. Then find slope and y-intercept for the following lines. So 8 questions for you to practice. You can always pause and answer these questions. Now let us take them one by one. So here's the first set. So I'll be taking 2 at a time. Here's the first set to begin with. Very simple example. X plus y equals to 2. Now to write it in slope-intercept form, we basically need to isolate y, right? Make it a subject. That is what we need to do. To make it a subject, I can take x to the other side and write it as y equals to minus x plus 2. Clear? Now, as soon as you write it in y equals to minus x plus 2, you can actually compare with the slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b. And comparing, you can clearly say that the slope is minus 1, the coefficient of x, right? So we can say slope, which normally we write with m, is equal to minus 1, right? So there is no other number, just negative means minus 1. And y-intercept, which is basically written as b in the equation, will be 2, right? Let us visualize this line also. So if you want to visualize it, it will look like this. Slope of minus 1 means it is coming downwards, and y-intercept of 2 means it crosses the y-axis at 2. So it will be kind of like this. Do you see that? And this point here is going to be 2, which is the y-intercept. Is that clear to you? Now, since the slope is minus 1, so if you go down by 2, you will go run, rise and run, both will be 2, right? So that should also be 2. Is that clear to you? So that becomes your line. You can visualize it. Clear? Now let's do the next one, which is 2x minus y equals to 6. So we do not want 2x here. We'll isolate y. So it is minus y equals to minus 2x plus 6. Now we want y equals to something, right? So we'll now multiply each term by negative. So we get y equals to 2x minus 6. Do you see how simple it is? And now can you tell me what is slope and y-intercept? Slope is also called gradient. So gradient m is equal to 2. Positive means line will be rising. And b, I'm writing for y-intercept, which is going to be minus 6. The graph will look something like this. In this particular case, since the slope or gradient is positive, line is rising, correct? And it crosses the y-axis at minus 6. So it has to be something like this, where the y-intercept is minus 6. Do you see that? And it is rising by 2. So if I go up by 2, I'll be at minus 4. So this point will be minus 4, 1. Do you see that? Going up by 2 and 1 to the right. So from 0, 1 to the right will be 1. And going up by 2 will be minus 4. You get the idea, right? So there are so many things which we are going to learn while doing this simple exercise of finding slope and y-intercept. So what did you learn here? How do we sketch this line given slope-intercept form? And how do we find more points on the line? Do you see that? So it's an educational video in this sense. Correct. Let's look into the next two examples. I think by now you know the technique, right? So try to do it before me. I'm slightly going slow, so giving you time to do it, okay? So now we have 3x plus 4y equals to minus 12. We need to isolate 4y first. So 4y will be minus 3x. Do you see every time I'm writing x first, right? It helps. Since we are looking into the form y equals to mx plus b, right? Now we are going to divide by 4. So you get minus 3 by 4x minus 12 by 4, correct? Now 12 by 4 can be reduced to, so always simplify your fractions, right, to the lowest term. It is minus 3. Makes sense? So I'd like you to sketch this now. So let us also sketch it before moving forward. Gradient is negative. Line is going downwards. Do you see that? And also we have a negative y-intercept. So this line is kind of going like this. Correct? Where the y-intercept for us is minus 3. Do you see this point is minus 3, right? And the gradient or the slope m is minus 3 by 4. Me going downwards, right? So this goes downwards. So the gradient is negative. Perfect. Let's do the next one, which is 3x plus 5y minus 15 equals to 0. So we'll keep 5y on this time on the left side, take the others on the right. So we have minus 3x plus 15. The signs will change. Now we will divide by 5 to isolate y. So 2 steps, right? So minus 3 by 5x means gradient is negative. Line is going downwards, right? That means the line is going downwards. Do you see that? Gradient negative. And here we have 15 by 5, which is 3. So I could write this as y equals to minus 3 by 5x plus 3. So what is the slope? So slope m is minus 3 by 5 and the y-intercept b is equal to 3, right? So I've already drawn this line here. And how does it look like? Since the y-intercept is positive, okay, like this. Do you see that? And so this point here, the y-intercept is going to be 3. You get the idea, right? So can you find the next point? So if I move 3 units down, I move 5 to the right. That will help you to get the next point. So if I go 3 units down, that means I'm here. And then I have to go 5 units to the right. So this point here should be 5. Do you see that? So I've easily found actually the x-intercept in this particular case. So I like you to visualize this, what I'm trying to sketch here, right? So do you see, if you get x and y intercept, you get slope directly, right? Ratio of y value over x value. Perfect. Right. And if the line is dropping, the slope is negative. Right. So let's move on. So I hope you have understood these strategies, right? Well, in case you want to learn from me directly, you can always send an email on the address given. Most of my students are right there on the top, getting the highest marks, and some are even getting awards and scholarships like Akshat.
After attending university. The winner of this year's Certificate of Achievement Schulich Leader Award is Akshi Kandilani.
Great. Our student Akshat gets highest marks and the most prestigious Schulich Leader Award. You can be there. Join our classes and excel.
Okay, let's move on and take the next question, which is kind of fractions. So I've introduced these fractions here because sometimes we struggle solving them. Okay, let's see how to do it. So we have x plus 2 over 3 minus 2y equals to 0. We need to isolate y so that we can write our equation in terms of y equals to mx plus b. So we are left with minus 2y and we'll take the other terms to the right hand side. So minus x plus 2 over 3, right? Now we can multiply by negatives and so we get 2y equals to x plus 2 over 3. And now you could also separate it out, right? But let's divide by 2. So we get y equals to x over 6, right? So I'm splitting them now, plus 2 over 6, right? Do you see that? Because x over 3 plus 2 over 3 was here, so we split them into 2, and we could now write this as 1 over 6x plus 1 over 3. Makes sense? Correct? So now tell me, what is the slope and what is the y-intercept? And if you sketch it, how will it look like? Well, slope is positive, so it has to be rising and it will cross the y-axis on the above the x-axis, right? Like this, you get the idea, right? So this point here will be 1 over 3, correct? Can you find the other point? So it really means from 1 over 3, if you move down, let's say if you go up by 1, you go 6 to the right. That is how you'll get the next point. So leave that as an exercise for you, okay? Perfect, but the line will look like this, okay? Let's do the next one, which is x plus 3y over 2 minus 6 equals to 0. Try it out, right? I hope you can do it. So let's rewrite this. So we have x plus 3y over 2. So first we'll take 6 on the other side, correct? Now we'll multiply by 2. So we get x plus 3y equals to 6 times 2, right? Which is 12. And now we can actually isolate y. So it was a bit tricky. So we have 3y equals to minus x plus 12. Dividing by 3 gives me minus 1 over 3x plus 12 over 3, which is 4. So I'll write this as y equals to minus 1 over 3x plus 4. Clear? So now, from here you can write slope m is equal to negative 1 over 3 and the y-intercept b is equal to 4. How will the line look like? Try to sketch it. Visualize, right? So negative means line is going downwards, right? And this is positive, means it will cross somewhere here, right? So major portion will be through these quadrants, not through quadrant 3, right? So I hope you're getting this. This point will be 4, the y-intercept. And when you go 1 down, you'll go 3 to the right. Perfect. So 1 down will be 3 and 3 to the right will be 3. So the next point will be, can you tell me this next point? Next point will be 1 down will be 3 and 3 to the right. You see that? That's how we'll get more points. Okay. Last two for you. Again, involving fractions. So they may require more than 2 steps. Perfect. Now in this case, I would like you to actually see how do we isolate, right? So we do not want this 2 here. We'll multiply by 2 to the other side. So we're left with y minus 1 equals to 2. You can say 2 by 3, right? Times x minus 2. You could write like this, no problem. And then you can take this 1 on the right side, right? So we got y equals to 2 by 3 x minus 4 by 3, right? And then take 1 on this side. Is that clear to you? And then you have to simplify the constant term, which is the y-intercept. Slope is 2 by 3, easily figured out. But here, what to do? I got 1 minus this. Think like this, right? Right. So it is easier to look like this. So we can add, take common denominator of 3. Or you can write 1 as 1 over 3. You could do that. Common denominator 3. So we get minus 4 plus 3. Correct? And that gives you the equation of line as, let me write down here. We are running out of space in this case. So y equals to minus 2 over 3x minus 4 plus 3 is minus 1. So minus 1 over 3. Does it make sense? So that gives you slope m as minus 2 over 3 and y-intercept b as minus 1 over 3. Perfect. Can you sketch this line? Negative means going downwards and y-intercept is also negative. So the line will be kind of like this. Do you see that? That is how the line will be. Perfect. Last question for you. Isolate y to write it in the term of y equals to mx plus b. And then find what slope and y-intercept is. So in this equation, we can keep y over 6 on the left side, take the x term minus x over 4 to the right side. Already we have plus 1 here. Now we'll multiply by 6. So we get y, multiplying this by 6 will give me minus 6 by 4x. And multiplying 1 by 6 will give me 6. You can reduce minus 6 by 4. Rather you should, dividing both by 2. So you get 3 over 2x plus 6, correct? So that gives you the slope or the gradient m as minus 3 by 2. And the y-intercept, which we normally write with b, as 6. Can you sketch this line just as we had been doing earlier, right? So, gradient being negative means line will be dropping down. And the y-intercept 6 means something like this, right? Okay. So, the point here will be 6, right? And negative. 3 by 2 means if I go 3 down, I am going 2 to the right. So, that point should be what? 3 down means y value will be 3, but 2 right will be 2 and this will be 3. Do you see that? So that is how we are going to get the next point. Is that clear to you? So we have completed this exercise where we have understood clearly, given these equations, how we can write them in slope and intercept form, right? So we have learned that the gradient, which normally written as y, is equals to m. If it is positive, then the lines are rising, correct? But if m is less than 0, means negative, in that case, lines are falling, correct? So we have also learned how do we sketch the lines when the gradient or the slope m is known to us and the y-intercept is known to us. Perfect. So I hope it makes sense. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that would be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.